Well, hello, Taurus, my favorite calm people. I don't know why. All my Taurus friends are very calm. Thank you for revisiting and welcome to new viewers. I've mentioned in my other vids that this Mercury retrograde really threw me for a loop. Disruptions in my schedule. I had to make a emergency trip regarding family, and I've been having tech and internet issues while I'm here away from home. I do hope Mercury retrograde is treating you a little bit better than me. Well, and as I promised in August videos, I got the nerve to record my own voice and I got rid of AI so it can be a little bit more personable. Okay, let's get straight into this. In this video, I will give you your main theme of September. Then I will summarize some of September's major planetary dynamics and how that may affect you. I'll do a quick revisit of a couple of astrological events in the past since we have retrograde planets and some repeating aspects. And finally, a couple of things to look forward to in the new year. First, and in general, September has a theme I've titled Hurry Up and Wait. Just like August's lazy end of summer feel. Mainly because as I mentioned, we have six planets in retrograde, and inclusive of a seventh minor body of Chiron. But I will touch on this list a little bit later on. Taurus, your phone calls, texts, emails, and focus is on your fifth house of love, romance, children, creativity, pets, and gambling. Communication regarding these things has gone backward and forward, and we'll do another take before the end of the month. This is due to the Virgo activity this month. The stop and rewind regarding these things is due to Virgo's ruler, Mercury, and it is currently retrograde. Even though Mercury will go direct this month, it will still be in shadow of its retrograde and won't clear that shadow until the end of the month. So if you've had to go from plan A to plan B because of the retrograde, do have patience and even have a plan C when it goes direct mid-month. Because anything agreed upon or canceled or on again between mid-month and the end of the month can still change or be tweaked. Yes, one more time. Okay, if you have any Virgo degrees, then something behind the scenes regarding your home, parents, family, and your nation or your tribe was going on. Some kind of secret which may have even involved money, but only you guys know what that secret or behind the scene stuff is about specifically. And I will discuss your home and family a little bit later on. There is also a beautiful new Virgo moon on the 14th, which again is your fifth house. Set your intentions and plant the seeds of a specific thing regarding your fifth house, or if an opportunity regarding love, romance, children, etc., presents itself on or about the 14th, it will be something of a life changer, I would say, in some ways for you, Taurus. If you are looking to get pregnant, this new moon can help. If you don't want pregnancy, then be careful because this is a powerful new moon. For most Taurians, it is all about sex and children. The fifth house is not necessarily a marriage house, but more of a true love or romance, fun, and creativity. And yes, those one time flings too. So that pregnancies can result from flings. So you are thus warned. If you're old enough, every so many years, the Virgo new moon brings in a change in this area of your life. Just be wary of any health issues regarding the fifth house because Virgo natally does rule the house of health and habits. So if you yourself are stressing about a new love or romance because your interaction with him, her, have gone backwards and forwards because of this Mercury retrograde, then take care of your psyche. If it is extending to the other or children, maybe you are a teacher and your classroom schedule becomes a mess because of COVID making a comeback, um, then no, it has something to do with Virgo. But just to take care of your and his, her, or their health, especially since Mercury is retrograde and won't clear the shadow until end of the month. By then, you should know the full story on health issues too. Now, let's get back to your fourth house of home, parents, parenting, family, patriotism, land, and your clan. And this can extend to your own family, as in you are the parent, and so on. So, Leo rules your fourth house, and Leo is a magnanimous sign, ruling the fifth house of love and children, natally. Venus entered Leo in July, but stationed retrograde and went backwards. And as of the 3rd of this month, like a week ago, Venus stationed direct to start moving forward in Leo through the month. You are also ruled by Venus. Venus brings money, love, goodwill, and attraction. So, too, regarding your family, that is, something about money and your family and home became the discussion in July, August, and the story continues this month. Maybe it is a home renovation. Maybe there was a loan between family members. Maybe it was a talk about inheritance or property purchase, refinance, or valuation. Whatever the discussions were, they also seemed to either stall, have become confusing because a sorting out needed to happen, or numbers had to be crunched, mortgages maybe were missed. I hope not. The bank could have stepped in or threatened to. I hope not either. Or it could have even become ugly. Let's just admit that. But I really, really hope not. Now that Venus has stationed direct and will be less demanding, fussy, and persnickety. I love that word. These home and family issues will start to smooth out, but it will still be a very slow process. Why? Well, because Venus only stationed direct last week and it is moving very, very slowly and is still considered in its retrograde shadow. So, final decisions are, alas, not final again about your home and family. Attitudes are still tender, and there may be one more little spat review or need for number crunching until the end of the month and into early October when Venus will start behaving like her amorous self again. So still be on guard and have patience regarding your fourth house until October, but it has stationed direct and it should start behaving herself. Good old Venus. She's your ruler. Okay, on to Pluto. I'm mentioning Pluto because there is an aspect and a theme regarding Pluto and Capricorn this month, and Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn. Sometimes when planets are retrograde, they can be even more powerful because they are not skimming the surface but digging in deeper and underneath. And or because there is unfinished business from the first go around or loose ends to be tied up. So that's why planets mostly do go retrograde. For you, Taurus, Capricorn is your ninth house of career, status, reputation, academia, publishing, the World Wide Web, and authority figures. And Pluto is all about power, control, and the fear that comes along with all that. Capricorn is all about steadfast, reliable, prestigious, government, old money, and slow and steady wins the race. It's the sign where you put in the work and you are rewarded. Pluto has been in Capricorn for 15 years now, so you already are used to this energy. Um, but why I'm mentioning it is because late last year, December through to March, April this year, something a surprising or maybe even jolting shift happened where whatever was repetitive, controlling, or constraining, even though you were, used to that energy and knew how to handle it, learned actually how to handle it through the years regarding your ninth house, but suddenly it became not so anymore. Promotions, demotions, lateral shifts, or people may have retired, moved, or simply just disappeared. Disappeared where? I don't know. In the fifth dimension. But anyway, and it freed you and others from any constraints or fears or having to go around them or whatever regarding your career status and authority figures. And since Pluto transits are life altering and transformative, people usually become experts in the area affected by a Pluto transit. So Pluto and Capricorn were about like powerful people control, but they they were set up against you so that you could have learned from them and learn how to have that prestige and power. And you have mastered this. So something like the student surpassing his professor, if that makes any sense. So when this shift and reshufflement happened in your ninth house in the new year, around, yeah, March, April, May, um, you were the obvious candidate to be an authority figure, replacing the authority figures that you once feared in this house or that disappeared. You will be able to guide and mentor others regarding things in the ninth house. So, if I was to give you a couple of examples, it would be like you were a teacher or professor and really wanted to use your own unconventional methods of teaching rather than the required institutional form of instruction, or you wanted to start instructing regarding things that would cause like a paradigm shift. Um, I remember a story about Robert Schoch, the professor at well, I'll save it for another time, but it's a really good story and it correlates, but I'll save it for another time. Yeah, paradigm shift. But you did not want to risk your job or position. You may have feared that. Well, this shift could have either retired the head of your department and you were promoted to their position, or you could have finally acquired your tenure where you could finally teach the way you wanted and really state your opinion without fearing your job. It can be a whole host of scenarios, but suffice to say, you now are in a more freeing position regarding your ninth house. In any case, the dynamics, arguments, agreements, and information that occurred between December last year and March April of this year, the the consequences of what was said and done are reverberating somehow this month. Plus, there is an aspect to Pluto retrograding in Capricorn this month also. But I will discuss that when I go through your September lineup. Okay, so let's get into retrograde planets. Okay, so let's discuss the retrograde planets. And before we do, I just wanted to mention one thing that I think is very important regarding retrograde planets. Whenever planets station to go retrograde and then station to go direct is when you should pay notice. So the day of, or the day before or after, pay attention to what's going on or the information you're receiving, because that day when the planets are stationing, um, their vibration is extremely strong, and whatever happens or whatever is said will reverberate through time. um, it'll be like saying, oh, it was that day that this whole thing started, or it was because so and so said whatever that made me change my mind. So yeah, it's pretty significant. So do pay attention to when they're stationing. Okay, retrograde planets. So we have both Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. Saturn is the master teacher. He's the disciplinary. He's he's the professor, the stern one, and he builds foundations and strong foundations. Now, Pisces is your 11th house of friends, groups, associations, groups of friends, and your hopes, wishes, and dreams um, for the future or what have you. Now, Neptune is the master of illusions. He rules fog, um, deception, mm, cosmetics, alcohol, the oil industry, anything marine related. Um, and Neptune is in its home space of Pisces. So he's very powerful in there. And Pisces are the two fishes that swim opposite each other. And you'll, if you have Pisces friends, you'll notice they disappear for a while. um, but yeah, Neptune in Pisces is basically, sorry, my dog is doing things. Neptune in Pisces is basically an escape, and the escape is really, for the most part, an escape from reality. So, something about your 11th house, it most of the time is a feel good escape for you. The only problem with that is that, or your friends may have like Pisces energy, and they may be elusive and deceptive, or not meaning to, but they may have those qualities. So, two issues is one, um, sometimes if it's a feel good escape, and I've been guilty of that, is you escape, you go away from reality so much and go into this dream world that you don't want to come back, and some people can't find their way back. Also, Neptune rules narcotics and drugs and things like that. I hope none of your friends are into that. Um, and so the universe in its wisdom, God, um, uh, has sent in Saturn and Pisces as well to pull you back down to reality, to give you alarm clocks, to put boundaries and rail guards so that you don't go off the ship and into the ocean. I forgot that name of what's his name's song about the ocean and falling into the ocean. Oh my god, I can't remember anything today. Anyway, yeah, we'll move on. Um, so both of these planets have gone retrograde in Pisces. Saturn entered Pisces in March. Um, or was it April? I think it was March or April. Anyway, Neptune has been in Pisces since Valentine's Day 2012. So your escapism is down to a science now. But Saturn's energy is pretty new. So whatever the past 3, 4, 5 months you've experienced, you will be repeating that. And as I mentioned, when planets go retrograde, sometimes they go deeper. Because a lot of people say, oh, it's retrograde, it's going to be an easy ride. Some planets aren't an easy ride. So, whatever lesson that Saturn has been trying to teach you in the past 4 or 5 months about rail guards and alarm clocks and, getting a hold of reality, um, or finding your way back home, um, he will be even more strict about that if you haven't paid attention. If you have and you've been learning this chapter, then it should be an easy ride. So pay attention to rail guards and your escapism. I mean, it's cool to escape. I love to escape. I love to daydream too. But yeah, just catch yourself. Oh my God, we've got dogs now fighting each other behind this sliding door. So if I stop it, I'll stop it. You won't know anyway. Okay. The next planet that's in retrograde is Pluto in Capricorn. And I discussed that in my monologue for you. So I don't think we need to add much to that. Um, and I'll explain it when I explain the aspect it has in your September lineup. Uranus in Taurus um, is going retrograde. So Uranus is the planet of shock, surprise, electricity, quirkiness, um, and all that good stuff. Electricity, I mentioned, yeah, thunder and the weather. And Taurus, of course, is your first house of self and physical appearance, your personality, your MO, the CV. So since April, something you've either changed the way you appear and it was surprising to others, or you may have found innovative ways to change your appearance, maybe plastic surgery, um, maybe laser surgery, maybe your wardrobe or shoes going from flats to heels or heels to flats or what have you. But something about yourself personally, the way you look, and all that will change during this transit. And now, as it goes retrograde, you'll be assessing and reviewing the changes you've made or tried on in the past 4 or 5 months. And then when it goes direct, you can cut out the things you don't want and then implement the things you do want, or tweak and change them. All right, the other planet that is retrograde is Mercury in Virgo. As I explain in my monologue as well, for you, Taurus, it is your fifth house of love, romance, children, creativity, pets, and gambling. And for most Taurians, it is about intimacy and children. So you know where you're at that. And I went into length about that in the monologue. Okay, the minor body of Chiron is in Aries. Aries is your 12th house of secrets, behind the scenes, spirituality, confining places like hospitals or institute or jails, the psyche, the past, hidden enemies, and your own self undoing. So that has gone retrograde, and you will be also reviewing how you have been dealing with with those items, and when it goes direct, you'll make the changes. Uh, I'm just hesitating because we have a full moon in Aries at the end of the month, but I'll explain that when we do the lineup. So, yeah, so those are the retrograde planets, and just suffice to say that they are reviewing the past few months, and you will be making changes when they go direct. And remember, pay attention to when they station, direct or retrograde. All right, let us get into your lineup. Okay, as I mentioned, um, on September 3rd last week, Venus did station direct in Leo. Leo is your fourth house of home, family, parents, parenting, land, patriotism, clans, blah blah blah. Um, and it will start going direct. Um, there's not much to say because I did go at it in length during the monologue, so you can rewind if you want and re-listen to it. But just know that Venus will stop being fussy, and Venus does is your ruler, so you're used to the energy. Just know that it'll clear its retrograde shadow by the end of the month, going into October. So things should start smoothing out then with family and parenting. And I think I mentioned the secret about money and family, whatever that was. Um, yeah, it'll be figured out by the end of the month. Okay, the day after Venus stationed direct, Jupiter stationed retrograde in Taurus, in your first house of self. So, again, I mentioned that your physical appearance, because Uranus is also in Taurus, and Jupiter also stepped in. So there's a lot of um, focus on the way you appear, um, your personality, and maybe it's cosmetic surgery. Maybe you're getting you became pregnant and now you're really showing. Maybe you had a child and now you're super duper in shape, or you may get pregnant. Like I said, your fifth house is quite lit up and we have a powerful new moon coming up. So maybe you'll start getting bigger. Um, Also, Jupiter is the planet of good luck and expansion. Um, but if there is an issue and Jupiter comes in, Jupiter can expand the issue just so that it's in your face and it can be taken care of. So maybe a lot of people would want to lose weight. Um, and then there Jupiter is maybe, you know, either helping or hurting that process, but in the end, um, the planets don't hate us, the planets help. So in the end it will work to your favor, and mostly because health issues is I mentioned weight, that's why. Okay, so Jupiter now started going backwards and reviewing the past few months, and you'll be reviewing any plastic surgery or talk of plastic surgery, or maybe you'll be getting second and third opinions before you go through that. Um, Maybe your wardrobe, you need a few more months to have a brand new wardrobe because maybe you have a new career and so forth, but you get the picture. Okay, the same day, Mercury in Virgo, which is your fifth house, trined. This is a good aspect, a favorable aspect. Jupiter in Taurus, your first house of self. So something regarding excuse me, love, romance, children, pets, or what, and I hope not gambling, gave good information, positive information towards your first house of self. Again, most of you are going to be talking about children, pregnancy. So maybe this is giving you a glowing appearance. Your pregnancy is giving you a glowful appearance. But suffice to say, the information, or maybe you could be having a lot of sex and glowing that way. But um, suffice to say, there is information regarding the fifth that's positively aspecting your first house of appearance. And trines are soft aspects, so not a lot of you will even feel them, but they are good aspects. And to know a little bit more of what it's about, because this is the second time it's happening, look to August 9th. That was the first time it happened. And it'll happen once again at the end of the month, and we'll discuss that. But to get a clue, I always tell people to look up their texts, emails, phone calls, and it can trigger a memory. Okay, so 8 days later, like yesterday, the 8th, the sun in Virgo, um, your fifth house. This time it was the sun trining Jupiter in Taurus, your first house. So the information that was favorable to your appearance from your romance house, now the sun is shining a spotlight on it. Like, what do you want to do about it? Like, do something about it, or giving you helpful aids. Whatever it is, again, it's a trine, it's a positive aspect. And you guys might not feel it, but pay attention. Okay, I usually don't mention the minor bodies, but I do when they're at 0, 0. They're significant. And some of you might have 0 degrees in your charts. So on the 13th, Pallas will enter Libra. Libra is your sixth house of health, habits, routine, organizational scheduling, service to others, gossip, and health of the mind. Um, and then the same day, Vesta enters nurturing and nourishing Cancer. And for you, Taurus, it is your third house of communication, commuting, siblings, neighborhood, and the spoken word. That's why I said all my Cancer friends are really calm. That's because Cancer rules your third house, and Cancer is like a nice, homebody. Yeah. Interesting. You learn something new every day. Okay. The 14th, a new moon in Virgo, and this is a powerful new moon, um, is going to be in your fifth house of love, romance, children, creativity, pets, and gambling at 21 degrees. And this moon, like I mentioned, it is a powerful new moon. And the new Virgo moons, and if you're old enough, every so many years comes around and lights up something in that house that you start. It doesn't it manifests, yes, in 5 or 6 months, but it reverberates through time for a few years, especially when there's a shift of the outer planets like Pluto or Uranus changing signs. So think back to 2011, 2010 or so. Um, and this year, too, Pluto and Uranus change signs. And now we have a Virgo new moon. So it's something you learn, um, but it's almost life changing. And this is your fifth house. Yeah, you guys can comment. I think a lot of pregnancies with Taurians. Okay, on the 17th, a couple of days after that, Venus in Leo, which is your fourth house of home and family, will square, this is a hard aspect, Jupiter in Taurus in your own sign of self. And this will be the third and final time. So the first time happened mid-June, around June 11th. The second time was towards the end of August, August 22nd. So look up those texts, those emails, those phone calls, and you can tell specifically what it will be about the third and final time. And hard aspects, out of all the hard aspects, squares and oppositions, I do like. Um, a lot of people fear them and hate them. Actually, I say do not fear and do not hate, because squares really do, um, whatever is at loggerheads or is deadlocked, it breaks it from that deadlock. And there's a solution. There's a benefit to a square. And oppositions, well, there's two opposing things, but either or, there's a solution when there's an opposition. It doesn't stagnate. So please don't fear squares. And again, look at these two dates to figure out what it'll be for the third time. But it is a hard aspect. On the 19th, 2 days later, the sun, this time in Virgo, your fifth house, will oppose Neptune in Pisces, your 11th house. And this 11th house of friends, groups, and your future aspirations. So this can be simple and simple to understand. Maybe you have a new romance that will not get along with your friends. Maybe you are having you're having children, or children are coming to stay with you, or you're taking care of children. And again, that'll take time away from your 11th house. Or maybe pets, cute little petties. Um, you have to care for them, and you can't really go out with friends or go to your group meetings. Again, I hope you're not gambling. And good, it opposes your friends. They don't want you to gamble, please. So that's an opposition, and that will be on the 19th. On the 21st, the sun in Virgo, again, your fifth house, will trine a good aspect, a soft aspect, Pluto this time in Capricorn. So your ninth house of publishing, academia, and authority figures. Um, so trine. Are you falling in love with or having an affair with a foreigner, maybe, or a person at a distance? Or maybe your nieces and nephews are coming to stay with you, or your own children. Um, in any case, it's a good aspect. It's a soft aspect. And I'm not going to say you guys won't feel it, because it's Pluto. And Pluto is pretty powerful. So look to the 21st for a good aspect regarding your fifth house and your ninth house. On the 23rd, the sun enters Libra like it does every year. And Libra is your sixth house of health, habits, routine, organizational scheduling, service to others, gossip, and blah, blah, blah. So your focus will be on your health and habit, your routine, your organization. And if you are having a brand new baby, um, don't don't do work while the baby sleeps. Sleep when the baby sleeps, because your mind has to rest as well. But yeah, your focus will be on these things. Not all of you are having babies, so it might be about something else. But You will be reviewing how you have handled your health and habits and routine for the past year, and you might make changes starting the 23rd and on. On the 25th, Mercury in Virgo, your fifth house, will trine soft aspect, pleasing aspect, Jupiter in Taurus, your first house, for the third and final time. So remember in the beginning when I said it was the second time, and this is the third and final time. So, information again about children or love, um, making you glow. Yay. You guys have to comment and tell me what it is. I'm like, or maybe I'll call my Taurus friends and figure out what it is because now I'm so interested. Okay, the major planetary dynamics ends with the full moon in Aries on the 29th of September. Aries is your house of secrets, behind the scenes, spirituality, confining places, psyche, the past, hidden enemies, and your own self undoing. Um, and this full moon has some hard aspects. I'm not gonna lie. Um, but, and just, we're not gonna sugarcoat it. Full moons are endings, full stop. No, I'm joking. They are endings, but they are also culminations, or things coming to a fruition of your past efforts. So, whatever you've been working on behind the scenes, or in secret, or about the past, um, it's coming to an ending, or maybe self undoing, and it's coming to an ending, which is a good thing, or it's coming to a fruition. So, just be careful of secrets, because when this happens, and especially Aries, fiery Aries, um, secrets tend to come out. So be careful. It is also your hidden self in here, but hidden self, no matter Aries or whoever it is, no one knows about your hidden self except you. Okay, so that ends the lineup, and that ends the. Oh, the other thing is there's the two things I told you to look forward to in the future. So let me get my notes so we can do that. Okay, so a quick look to a future transit, and I'm going to hurry up because I can't believe it's already 40 minutes into the video. Um, future transit is Jupiter, stations direct in Taurus in January 2024. So that's your first house again, and it will trine Pluto in Capricorn, your ninth house. Excuse me. This this is a good aspect, of course, and it is a soft aspect, but you've got powerhouse Jupiter and power and control and authority figures Pluto, both involved. This is a major deal, and since it's Pluto is ending its transit of Capricorn, it's gonna go back and forth, just I think two more times, but it'll be over. But this this trine is significant. So something about your appearance, yourself. So yeah, let me just look at the notes. Even though it is a soft aspect, but you will feel it as these are power planets, as I explained. So something about you, maybe a new physically changed you, is giving your persona a shot of confidence and allure. So it is in turn trining or positively aspecting your ninth house of travel in the mind, academia, publishing, the World Wide Web. Maybe you lose weight in the next 3 or 4 months and you decide that you will make a trip to the Bahamas and show off your bikini body. Or you could have scheduled plastic surgery and are excited to show off your new enhanced body part or parts.
when you return to teach or resume your class after the holidays, or you can finally decide on the plastic surgeon and you'll be doing that. Or a combination of physical enhancement and wardrobe is giving you the confidence to set up a meeting with authority figures, because in the ninth house is authority figures regarding your career. Or it can be you have gained weight because you're pregnant or wanted to gain weight and your status is benefiting uh, thereof. Anyway, and on to the second exciting thing that will happen next year, May, is that this is all setting up this trine with Jupiter and Pluto is all setting up some type of surprise, because Jupiter in Taurus, your first house of self and physical appearance, will trine, guess what? Shocking, electrical, jolting, quirky Uranus again in your sign. Very unique. So, a very unusual, surprising, or electrical shock regarding yourself. Again, your physical appearance, your persona, your CV, um, your modus operandi. Again, maybe it is pregnancy in January and you start showing in May, or your new physical self is really giving a boost to your CV. All this is bringing you immense joy, though. That's the most important thing, because trines are really good aspects. All exciting, and you deserve it. Now, just for the sake of disclosure, and I did mention it a little bit, if something is not working out in your first house, Jupiter will also expand that issue. Jupiter, like I explained, is the planet of expansion. And the only reason it expands an issue because some people simply not pay heed until it is front and center. Now, the first aspect of Jupiter in your first house of self, trining Pluto in Capricorn in your ninth house, I really don't see an issue with that at all. Trines are good and pleasing aspects. If there is still an issue, then there must be something in your natal chart, or it is setting up a course correction rather, for later. The second aspect, however, Jupiter trining Uranus, well, trines are good and mellow aspects. So I can't understand how it can be harmful. But Uranus here is the one I like. If I fear anything, I do fear Uranus. Um, because Uranus is the planet of shock and surprise, and it is a little like Gemini, where Gemini is the trickster of the zodiac, even though he's the harmless trickster. And Uranus too is quirky and unconventional and likes to teach lessons through shocking and or jarring ways. So if there is an issue, Jupiter trining Uranus in your first house of self may be an issue for how someone else sees you, not really you. Um, so maybe some of you decide to go full punk rainbow color hairdo, and authority figures or foreigners are like getting shocked and they're not having any of that. Maybe I don't know how it will end up for each Taurian, but 99% of you, like I said, this will be, I'm going to say 99.99% of you, this will be good in a shocking way. May is a long way out. Besides, Venus is your ruler, and Venus wouldn't allow anything, I'm doing air quotes, bad to happen. LOL. I've typed LOL. And we will have other vids discussing Jupiter and Uranus in your own sign. So, Taurus, my calm friends, don't worry. We'll figure it out together. Okie dokie. Please, if you did find this informative and entertaining, please do give it hit the like button. It really, really does help my channel. Boost it out in front. And consider subscribing. It's free. Um, and thank you again for your patience with my Mercury retrograde calamities, and for returning and new visitors. I love you too. Mwah. So goodbye, and I shall see you in the next set of videos. Bye, Taurus. Take care.